Guys, welcome back to the channel. Been wanting to do a first thoughts and impressions on Blasphemous 2. Anybody that's familiar with my channel will know that I absolutely loved the first game. So although time permitting, I've just not had a chance to really get that far. I'm only probably a couple of hours in. But yeah, so you start off with coming into this room here where you have to pick your weapon, which essentially also chooses your path from what I can make out. Yeah, so I think it will show you in just a second, but once you've confirmed your path, the other weapons do disappear. Although in my playthrough, I have managed to pick one of the other ones up. Just before we go any further, this review, or first insight, is going to be relatively spoiler free, so don't worry too much about that. The game feels very familiar. You're bounding around like I am there, and essentially it does feel very much like Blasphemous. They've not really changed or tinkered too much, really just polished, to be honest with you, and it does feel very solid. The controls feel tight and responsive. The tutorial parts of the game, the things that show up on what you should be doing and where, are pretty good, probably more so than the first game. But the game doesn't hold your hand, and already you dropped into a boss fight in the first sort of 30-60 seconds of the game. So although it's not the most difficult boss ever, it was quite a lot of fun playing and defeating this boss. The moves are relatively, easy to predict and work out, so it's really not too bad. The weapons I've gone for, the dual blades, and they really do take off quite a bit of energy and life off the boss quite quickly. So to be fair, I made mincemeat of them. So yeah, the music in the game is really good, like really good, next level good, and I enjoyed the soundtrack of the first game, but the Carlos Viola, I think the sound director he's the composer, and he really has upped his game a notch, and really got his eye in on what the game is and the lore, so everything sort of really nicely complements the scenes that you're in and the combat. I think in terms of difficulty, I think they've got the balance right so far. You do need to have your wits about you. Although I'm only a couple of hours in fact I've only just beat the next boss, I've taken my time to really explore. But yeah, the difficulty so far, the balance does feel pretty good. I'm sure it probably is going to ramp up towards, as I progress through the game. Quite a few of my friends that I'm seeing on Twitter at the moment are absolutely caning through the game, and fair play to them. I'm perhaps going to enjoy this a bit more like a fine wine, I guess. I've got to say, these visuals here that you can see have been done. I think the Games Kitchen have actually essentially outsourced them to an animation company. I forget what they're called, some studio, and they look really nice. I think Team 17 and the Games Kitchen had teased quite a bit with these animations, and you'd even got a little bit of that when they brought out the DLC for the last game, which was called Wounds of Eventide, which essentially had a hidden ending in there. And yeah, I really like it. I think the game is going to go on and essentially keep telling the story through these animations. Although there's quite a lot of really good voice acting and pixel art as you go. The combat within the game is probably what the first game was best known for, and I've got to say, you can really go hammer and tong with these enemies. There's also blocking, as you can see there, the parry, and there's a few other, which I won't go too much into, but there are a few other ways that you can beat enemies very, very quickly. You can unlock favours and prayers and all that sort of stuff again, which you'll have to upgrade as you go along. And you've also got execution sequences, sort of Mortal Kombat style, where the enemy's fatigue meter hits a low, and then you can do quite a cool little animation to finish them off, which is pretty awesome. Like I say, yeah, you can find prayers as you go, and this is one that I found here fairly quick early on. It's like an electric one. There will be others that you can unlock as you go, and I'm sure you'll be able to strengthen them and use them in particularly difficult boss fights, etc. In terms of the gameplay so far, I've not experienced any lag or any bugs at all, to be honest. The first time I played the first game, it was a bit buggy, although the developers worked pretty hard to iron those out with maintenance releases, updates, that sort of thing. But yeah, it works really, really well. I'm playing here on the PS5, although I did buy the Nintendo Switch version as well, which I haven't tried just yet. The gameplay is really made up of quite a bit of platforming, and that's, I think, what probably attracted me to the game, the first game that is. And it's probably one of the areas that they've continued into this game really well. I'd say the platforming is absolutely spot on, and it's an element of the game that I really enjoy. It takes me back to playing the Master System as a kid all those years ago, and it's what attracts me to these sort of platformer-esque 2D Metroidvanias. I've played quite a few over the last few years, and just probably Blasphemous was my favourite and has been my favourite so far. From what I've seen of this one, I can really see this taking top spot. It's really that good. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome day.